You ever notice how two people can talk every single day, share their secrets, flirt nonstop, watch each other's stories, act like a couple? Relationships became more complicated. Back then, things were simpler. You liked someone, dated, you became official, or you broke up. But now, there are about 50 complicated emotional feelings between you saying a hello and being committed. So many things in between. Because technology has created something humans were never really built for. Limited romantic access. I'm just gonna tell you. This is when you suddenly stop in all communications with somebody. You basically ignore their text, their social media, and everything else. Situationship. It's more than a friendship, but then it's also less than a relationship. So you're not friends and you're not in a relationship. You're basically in an uncertain situation. Uncertainty. Breadcrumbing is like you stay flirty with someone, but then you have really no intention of actually having a real thing with them. But then you just keep flirting with them. So with orbiting, it's like you stop communication with this person, text, whatever, but then you're still on social media watching their stories, liking their posts and whatnot. So with soft launching is like you are hinting on social media you have this new person you're in a relationship with, but then you're not really giving the full identity of the person, but then you keep giving subtle hints. And we know love bombing. So love bombing is when in the beginning of a relationship or whatever, the person starts showing you so much love with gift, so much attention and everything to win you over or to gain control. But later, they don't really continue doing all those things for you. And dry texting is during texting, your responses are literally dry. Yeah, cool. LOL. And it just keeps giving low efforts. You're not interested, or you just have poor communication because when a person is texting you, you are just dry texting. Oh, now we have sneaky link. So sneaky link is someone you keep from friends from social media. So you guys just call each other when you need to
Oh my.
do the do, but then they keep it secret from everybody else. Sneaky link. Nobody really talks about this, but dating apps didn't just change how we meet people. Dating apps also changed how we value people. Period. Because when human beings see endless options, the brain just starts treating people like replaceable options instead of emotional investments. This is actually all connected to a psychological idea called the paradox of choice. The more people have options, the harder it is for them to be committed. Okay, for a second, let's think about Netflix. You open Netflix and you want to relax for 20 minutes. Then you spend an hour scrolling, keep scrolling. Now apply that to human beings. That's basically modern dating right now. People start wondering, what if there is someone better out there? What if I settle too early? Or even what if the perfect one swiped away? People will just half commit. People will now commit halfly. Is halfly a word? People will commit in a halfway. They won't commit fully. So they will stay emotionally available enough to receive attention, but they will stay emotionally unavailable enough to avoid any risks. And this is where situationship was born. Oh, you text every day, you act exclusive, you will emotionally depend on each other, but then nobody really defines the lines. Because the labels will create responsibilities and responsibilities will create risks. So most people want emotional comfort of a relationship, but still with the freedom of being single, while still avoiding all the pain of rejection. But psychologically, humans are not designed for a prolonged uncertainty. Human beings are not designed to be uncertain for so long. That is why situationship will cause certain issues, anxiety, overthinking, emotional exhaustion, and even attachment issues. Because the brain is constantly searching for clarity. And when that clarity never really arrives, when we are not getting that clarity, then the brain starts to do its own signaling and detecting every little thing, trying to look into every single situation. And that gives us all those emotions of anxiety and all of that. People start decoding tiny signals like detectives. So one dry text becomes, "Do they hate me?" A delayed reply could be like, "Did I lose interest?" And one Instagram follow becomes, "Who is that?" Modern dating has literally turned people into emotional investigators. And here's the craziest part. Most people say they want honesty, but modern dating actually rewards emotional detachment. They want you to be detached. Calm down. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. Basically, the person who cares less is often the powerful one in modern dating. And that really changes behavior because people start pretending they are less interested, less available, less detached, they are less emotional. All because vulnerability feels dangerous. Ghosting is actually one of the clearest example of this. And honestly, ghosting actually says more about modern communication than dating itself. Because disappearing becomes easier than having the difficult conversations. So people do not want to have any more difficult conversations, they'll rather just disappear. Just think about it. Before all the phones and the apps and internet and everything, communication actually required effort. But now you can remove someone from your life silently whilst you're laying in bed, you're having breakfast or you're having your dinner. You can just silently just remove someone from your life just like that. No confrontation, no explanation, no accountability, just remove them. Psychologically, ghosting happens because people want to avoid guilt. People want to avoid discomfort. They want to avoid emotional responsibility. When you ghost somebody, it removes the chance for you or the person to have closure. And trust me, the human brain hates having unfinished emotional stories. That's why people replay conversations in their heads for like months. What did I do wrong? Was it something I did wrong? Was it something I said? Did they ever care? That silence actually become louder in your head than the rejection itself. Now, let's go a little deeper. Social media didn't just change communication. It changed performance. Relationships today are partially lived and partially displayed. That's why terms like soft launching, hard launching, orbiting, that's why they all even exist. A soft launch is basically saying, "I want people to know I'm dating," but not enough to fully commit publicly. Someone stops talking to you and they are still watching your stories. Why? Please, if you know I'm not talking to you, I'm gonna unfriend you. There is no need for you to be seeing my stories. Some people want to show their stories, they just want you to know how well they are doing. But seriously, it's just that modern platforms allow passive emotional presence. So people can stay psychologically connected to you without actually having intimacy, but that never really existed before. Because in the older generation, when someone disappeared, they disappeared. But now people are hunting each other down digitally. It's like every message requires interpretation. Every notification sound just triggers anxiety. Every story viewed becomes a data. People are now analyzing every single thing. People analyze relationships through and through. Response time, emojis, likes, viewing stories, text messages, all the online activities are being analyzed. And over time, this kind of creates emotional hyper awareness. I think there is some upside to all of this. People are very emotionally informed now, and that is an upside to the whole situation because people now discuss their boundaries, which is a really good thing, their attachment styles, their mental health. They discuss consent and emotional maturity. The older generation will often suppress their emotion instead of discussing it. Now, everybody has become a psychologist. They can see someone and just call them narcissist, toxic, manipulative, avoidant, everything. Everybody is just using terms. Yeah, sure. Sometimes it's accurate and sometimes it is reckless. Real human complexities we are having is just being thrown on social media and being labeled with anything and not by professionals. Now, Gen Z developed humor and used it as an emotional armor. That's why so many dating languages now sounds ironic. Main character energy, res, ick, delulu. Humor just becomes a safer way to disguise our vulnerability. So instead of somebody who say, I'm afraid they don't like me, instead they'll say, I'm delulu. Instead they'll use the word delulu. And it sounds funny, but underneath that joke, there is some sort of real emotional uncertainty. But honestly, that is one of the most human thing about this generation. I know a lot of people criticize Gen Z dating culture, but I believe many of young people are trying to navigate all these public relationships and the infinite options and the economic stress and the social comparisons and all the constant online exposure all the time. And no generation has dated under these conditions.